Welcome everybody to another G-Script chat with the PE Geeks. I'm with Matt and Naomi, and I'm Adam, and we're going to talk today a little bit about Autocrat. So you can find me on Twitter at Adam P. Howell, and I will let Naomi and Matt introduce themselves.
I'm Naomi Hartle. You can find me on Twitter at Miss Hartle.
And I'm Matt Pomeroy. You can find me on Twitter at physed_Pomeroy. Looking forward to this chat. A ton of possibilities here for not only PE geeks but education across the world. So many things we can do, right, Adam?
Exactly. And Naomi, go ahead.
I was just going to say it's going to be exciting because we each have a different way we kind of use this. So we'll show you a bunch of different ways how to do it and just some different ideas. So yeah, I'm excited for this chat.
Exactly. So one of the things about Autocrat that I want to tell our viewers is, and I said this to Naomi last night when I was kind of exploring the template that I plan on sharing today, was that to me Autocrat is like the most, it's not difficult to use, but it's the most like complicated, not difficult thing out there. That might not even make sense, but so many of the things I'm looking at the script, I'm like, I don't even know what this means, but it just works. In the words of Steve Jobs, it just works.
Yeah.
It took a little bit of trial and error with me just to get a few of those little details kind of crossed, and then once I got those all set up, I mean, it was slick. So you just kind of try it with your first one, and it might work, it might not work, and then you just kind of go at it again and tweet at one of us, if you get confused along the way, and we'll try to help you through it, because it's quite simplistic. So.
Yeah, I made a mistake the first time and I couldn't figure it out, so then I tried all over. I tried something new, and then it worked, and then I tried the old one again and it didn't work, and then I tried the new one. So sometimes it was trial and error, and I mean, I know what I did wrong, so we can help you out. I've made enough mistakes doing it, so it'll be fun.
So the first thing we're going to do here is we all have examples we're going to share with you today on applications to practice that we have looked at through the Autocrat lens. So Matt did went ahead and made a YouTube little screencast on using Autocrat for his Great Outdoors Challenge, and it's on YouTube, and we're actually going to try something new here on the Hangout, and we're going to play the YouTube video. So we're going to kind of watch it as a group. You'll be watching it along with us. It's about 4.5 minutes long. And Matt might talk here or there as the video is playing, but for the most part, we're all just going to watch the video, and at the same time, we will be back-channeling on Twitter. So we might be tweeting out with the hashtag #GScriptChat about Autocrat while the video is playing. So we're going to go ahead and get that.
Alright, I just wanted to show you a little bit about how I'm using the Autocrat script in physical education and how it can be used across the board in education. There are thousands and thousands of possibilities of how you can use it, and it's a pretty amazing tool. So I hope you like what we're doing, and there's going to be a nice little G-Script chat about this too, so we can learn a little bit more about Autocrat and how other people are using it. But here's what I'm doing. September challenge, you can see right here, is a Great Outdoor Challenge. So this is just right here on my website. So I'm hoping that my students will just kind of hop in, they'll join the challenge, they'll complete it. When a student completes it, what they do is they just fill in the form, which is right here on my website. Alright, here's kind of the cool part about what Autocrat does, and I want to show you kind of the back end of it so you understand what's going on here. So this is what I want to end up sending to the students, and just something I've created in a Google Doc, and it's just a certificate of achievement, so you can just see it's congratulations, the certificate is awarded to. You can see that it's going to enter a specific student name here, and in recognition of completing a specific fitness challenge, we've got obviously our sweet little logo there from Merton Mustangs, tell you what month they completed it in, and just to send them a little bit of a congratulations and something that they can kind of be proud of when they get it, something they can put on a portfolio or a portfolio, anything like that. But that's kind of what we're looking to create. I just want to show you again. Here's kind of the back end of the form that was on my website. So when you create a Google form, you basically have to put in the different content that you want. So student name, email address, grade level, homeroom teacher, which fitness challenge did you complete, which month did you complete the fitness challenge. So those are the main questions I want. Again, it's going to take some of that data that people fill in the form, and then student name will fill in here, fitness challenge, whatever it was, will fill in here, and then the month will fill in right there. Now, once it pops onto this spreadsheet, and this is my response form, and it was, of course, created from this form. After students turn in the actual form, everything will just kind of pop up right here. It'll automatically run the merge, and Autocrat is the script that will be running, as you can see right here. So just kind of want to walk you through the process of all that and see how it works. It's a pretty cool program. Like I say, we'll get into some more details in our G-Script chat, and you can check it out there. So we're just going to go through it, and we'll say Michael Jordan is in my class. His email address. Is just going to be right there. He was an 8th grade student at Merton when he completed this. His homeroom teacher was, of course, me. He competed our Great Outdoors Challenge, and he finished it in September. Right? That student hits submit, and they've done it at home. So again, if this happens a lot, it's just going to instantly run. Right when someone hits a form submit, that will happen. And again, I go kind of check my email right here, and I've got my completed fitness form from Michael Jordan, and he completed the Great Outdoors Challenge with the Merton Mustangs, and he did some awesome work in September. Alright, so just a little bit, and as you can see, there could be tons and tons of different ways that you could use this in your classroom. Whether it be phys ed or whether it be any classroom out there. So that's the deal. Autocrat, awesome stuff. More details to come. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Okay, so Matt, that's your little video there on, and I know we were tweeting on the back channel a little bit. And I mentioned this in a tweet, but I loved, again, it's worth saying, I loved how something like that really allows you to do something in phys ed that takes some gamification, badges, and portfolios, integrated seamlessly with portfolios with what you're doing. So I really like how Autocrat is used in that sense.
I thought it was a great way to, get them fit outside of the classroom. Like I say, I kind of jumped in there, and Jill Bailey kind of created some of those monthly challenges. So I was using that from her WHP newsletter, and so kind of tying that into it. And it was just, for me, the simplest way to collect some data. Who finished it? When did they finish it? And kind of looking at, for the people who do finish those monthly challenges too, then handing out some gift cards from local sports stores and those kind of things, as that reward. So I tried to use that one as a a reward base, like you say, gamification is perfect.
Yeah, really good. So I know you have another example you want to show us about a parent letter. So we're going to do that live. So go ahead and take it away and walk us through that.
Right, so we'll start our screen share right here. I'm going to show you again what I tried to create, and it just easier open the lines of communication for us at school to parents for something that might happen quite frequently. It might not be graded, but it's just a reminder to those parents that, hey, you know what, we need to dress out. We need to make sure we're changing for class, and we've got proper footwear so we can participate in class. So we've got our school letterhead, and then I simply just kind of typed up the little paragraph. It's got an attention statement to the parent, and it talks about the student, who in this example is Matt. Tells you how many times they forgot their shoes or physical education clothes, and kind of tells the importance of it. And then as the student is filling out the Google form, it also has a plan for being prepared for class. So Matt's going to make sure to have 2 sets of clothes ready all the time. All right, so that's kind of what ends up getting produced. It ends up instantly when the form is submitted, getting emailed to the parent of the student. It can be emailed to the principal. It can be sent off to the student too. So kind of just to show you what the letter looks like in its template form. Again, these are just the major things that I have in my form that ends up getting copy and pasted into my template. And then here's my form. So this is where it pulls all that information out of. All right, so it's got all the same specific things that I wanted for my letter in the form. All right, so parent's name. So that stuff kind of gets entered in there. And then it's got the email addresses, and I can kind of quickly show you how to get the email addresses to work if I find my responses.
So
any
real
questions?
quick,
Any questions?
Before you do that, Matt? Yeah, I do have a question. So one thing I want to point out to our viewers watching here is I think we haven't really mentioned yet is exactly what Autocrat is. And Autocrat is a mail merge. So basically, you may have done it with Microsoft Word, but what it does is it takes any information from a spreadsheet and it populates it into a document or a PDF that can then be mailed or edited or things like that. And so that's what you're looking at right here. And that's part of the power of Google Forms, because Google Forms collects our information into a spreadsheet. So that's the connection there that Matt is demonstrating right now, is he's having information entered on a form that then collects in a spreadsheet, and then the Autocrat script is running to merge that information into a Word document or a Google Doc, which is what he's probably going to walk us through right now, how to do that.
Yeah, so we'll kind of show you exactly how the script works here, just a little bit, so you can see that Autocrat is running on my screen based on the Autocrat little button right here. And again, I'm using the responses spreadsheet, and Adam just said that was key. It's the spreadsheet where Autocrat runs. It's not the, it's not my template. It's not my form. Those are the two key pieces. But you've always got to be working through that spreadsheet. So it's for me, it's my form responses. I just want to show you the merge type, just so you can get an idea of how those emails kind of get sent out. So I also have my saved merge files. It automatically merges those two files and gets this letter that gets sent home. It actually goes right into my Google Drive. So it gets in my complete address out forms. You can kind of see I've tested this just a few times. So you can kind of start to see students maybe compile up these forms. And so that's my storage facility right there. And I kind of named it right here. So that's how I got my the name for the file. And again, if I use this variable, the $ student name, it's just going to pull the student name right from the form again. So you can see up here, these are some of my choices that I can use. All right, so it also says send merge files via email. So right when they click submit, it sends it to the student's email that was typed in, the parent's email that was typed in, and it sends them a little note along with it. All right, and then I clicked on the last button too, and it just means it triggers the merge on a form submit. So when my student is looking at this form and they fill it out, it clicks submit, it automatically runs this merge. And it creates that document and it sends out the 2 emails within 20 seconds. It's quick, it's powerful, and to me it could be a big time saver. So that was how I was using it, more of a behavior way, to kind of curb some of those unwanted behaviors and maybe get some students back on track. And instead of calling every parent that maybe a child forgot their shoes, it's just kind of a quick reminder that gets sent out instantly. So powerful.
Yeah, saves time, absolutely.
Yeah, and not only does it save time, but it's that key communication piece. So it's saving you time with something that we need to be doing more of, communicating with parents. And it doesn't necessarily have to be negative things. Like the gamification example, the certificate, you could easily set that up so that gets emailed to a parent as well. So all of those things. So you can celebrate the success or communicate with parents when something needs to change. So definitely very effective.
Yeah, so two major differences, but both amazing tools. So all based on Autocrat. So go ahead, Natalie. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, do you guys want me to go through mine now?
Yeah,
as well?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, do it. We'll turn the screen over to you.
Okay.
So I think as Naomi brings this up, I think one of the things she showed me before we went on air, she's using this as an example of like formative assessment and an exit ticket in her class.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess I can show you what the end result would look like. And again, this is quite basic, and this is actually an example of what all of my students have done in the past with my Wellness 10 class. Now, obviously, I took the kids' names out, and I didn't put any student names in there. So really, I just have the date on here, and then responsible social behavior exit card is just what I called it. So really, I could have the student, or I would have the student's name here, but just for privacy purposes, I just changed it. So here's what it would look like. I would probably have their name at the top or at the bottom here. So responsible social behavior, lessons level. So really what I did with this was after a relationships unit, it's just last couple minutes, we were in the, this was an in-class unit, so we were in the computer lab and there's enough computers for everybody. So they all had enough time to just fill this out. And again, it was a quick thing. So basically, you know, what is your most consistent level of behavior according to lessons level? So then they chose the level, and then they told me why based on kind of what they've done throughout the year. So that's what it ended up looking like. And here I can show you the template to start too that I created.
So that's the merge, right, Naomi?
Yeah,
so
that was the merge.
That's the end result. That's not what students fill out.
No, sorry. Yeah, and then here's the template as to what it looks like. I'll show you what the students fill out here too. So this is what the students fill out. So I basically would have emailed this to them, and then they would just go in their email and they would find this, and they would just enter their name. They would tell me, they would click on whichever behavior they thought they're at, and then they would tell me why, and then they would submit it. So that's from the student's point of view. So then as the teacher, what I would get would be I'd have my spreadsheet, and you know, I'd have this on my phone and I could see who sent it in, who didn't send it in, and as you can see here again, I took the kids' names out just for privacy purposes. So you can see that some kids wrote a little bit and some kids wrote a whole bunch, right? So you could tell who was able to really reflect on things and maybe who struggled with it a little bit most. So especially with these students here, I'd have a little bit more feedback to give them. And I mean, who knows, maybe these guys I'd have a lot more feedback to give them too. Depends on what they would say throughout the process. So then what would happen, oops, I just opened that again. So I created the merge. So basically I set it up so that it would go through the template, and then the students would get this. So they would get this through an email. I had it set up through email. And what would happen would be, so I could highlight this part, and then I could comment on it. So here I can write, so the kids wrote, I do care about people and how they do. I have also helped people many times throughout the year by giving them information, supporting them with their decisions. So I could ask them to reflect on that a little bit more, maybe give me some examples specifically as to why you would, you know, why you're carrying in leadership as you know, that's the highest level there is. So this would be how I would do it, so then my students could see this. So this would be the feedback that I would give them, a little bit of formative feedback so I could see where they're at with things. Is there anything else you want me to like explain with this?
Well, I think the beauty of what you're doing right here is you're doing an electronic version of, you know, what many of us do in the classroom already, or what we would consider to be sound practice. You know, the formative assessment, the exit slip, and as a teacher, you know, if you're doing exit slips, paper, pencil, and you get all these exit slips, and then you're going through and you're looking at those exit slips and you're using them to inform your practice or adjust as necessary, you know, into the next lesson. But there's not an easy, first of all, you have a lot of paper, and there's not an easy way to do that and give feedback to the students without, you know, writing feedback on there and passing those exit slips back. It's really not easy to do. So you're using Autocrat in a way where you're digitizing the exit slip, and then you're able to take it up another notch and give some specific feedback to that student that they then can view, They could view before the next class. They could view it. You could view it in class at the start of the next class, and you could use that information to really even try to push their thinking even more with self-reflection and things like that. So I really like how the Autocrat is giving you the ability to do that.
Yeah, that's one of the hardest things, you know, as a physical education teacher, is to hand out a piece of paper to possibly, I know you collected them at the end of class or whatever, but sometimes, you know, you want them to take something home and then bring it back and then hand it back to them, and, you know, hopefully it'll go in their folder. And it's like, it's just not possible, and it's hard to do. So Autocrat definitely simplified that quite a bit, and great points, Adam, with, you know, just being able to comment so easily too. And for them to see it almost instantly, you know, as you do that. So I also have to comment on how organized your Google Drive is, Naomi. I mean, you could you could work wonders on quite a few people's Google Drive. So love the colors.
Thank you. Yeah, it has to be color coded. I'm just going to add to the exit slip too, because I know I'd hand them back, and you know, the kids would leave for their next class to go change, and there'd be 5 or 6 sitting on the stage, you know, that they'd forget, right, of the sheets of paper. Whereas they can't really forget about this. It goes straight to their email. I mean, you could have the parent email in there as well, so they could see, you know, the feedback that you're giving also. So I just think, yeah, for me, it's just, you know, an easier way to kind of set things up for the kids too. And I mean, then they're not going to forget about it, and it's right there. And then I'm not going to forget about it too. So.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So I think I guess I'll show my example now, and hopefully we don't get tunnel vision when I share my screen. So I practiced, so I don't think we're going to. If you're out there watching and you have questions, you know, tweet at Naomi and Matt and I with the GScript hashtag, GScript chat, and then we can answer questions after I kind of demo my example. So I'm going to show you my example. I'm also going to walk you through the steps on how you can set up Autocrat for yourself. So let's see if I can share my screen here. I can't remember what one I did now. Okay, I think this is the one. We'll see. Are you able to see everything? Is it good?
Yeah.
Looks great.
Okay, all right, excellent. Now we're going to do one more thing. Toggle on that. Okay. All right, so this is my Google Drive right here, and I really want to kind of show you how Autocrat really fits with what we talked about last time with G-class folders. So I have my G-class folder right here, my 3 folders, if you remember from last time. I've got my view folder, my edit folder, my assignment folders, and my teacher folder. So everything that I'm going to do for Autocrat, I am going to create in my teacher folder. So if I open that teacher folder up, you'll notice I have several folders in here. I have feedback forms, form responses, merge templates, and I have a couple other documents in there that were populated when I signed up for the G-Class Hub URL. So I will talk about that briefly. So first of all, remember what Autocrat is. It is a script that runs within a spreadsheet, and it takes data from a spreadsheet and merges it into a program. Andrew Stillman's the creator. At A. Stillman, actually. And his website, upd.com/, and I think Autocrat has a section on that. I will pull that up here in a second because I'm going to open my form responses. And I'm going to start there. I have my student feedback demo spreadsheet, which I'm going to open up. And in this little spreadsheet, this is a form response spreadsheet. So the first thing I did, the very first thing, is I created a form. So I suppose I should probably show you the form first. And on the left-hand sidebar right here, I've got feedback forms, and I've got my student feedback demo. So my workflow, my thought process for this is I was going to create a form first. So I created a form to give student feedback during, say this is our ultimate Frisbee unit, but it could be during any unit that involves moving to open space. And I titled the feedback form for active participation. I took a active participation pyramid from a textbook that's out right now. I think it's called Meeting Physical Education Standards Through Meaningful Assessment. So I know Joe Bailey also has that one. I think Adam Metcalf might have that one too. We were talking about it on Twitter. But they have a pyramid for active participation. Anyhow, so that's what I took for this example. I created my feedback form. One was a drop-down menu for student names, one for the date. I had a list of characteristics that I observed. This is almost like, from an administrative perspective, it's almost like a teacher walkthrough form. I have a rubric score, and then I have some space for feedback, one area that they did well, and one question I still have. So that's the form I created. From there, when you create forms in Google Drive, it creates a spreadsheet. So I'm going to click over to that spreadsheet, which is right here, which is where everything gets collected. And to find Autocrat, to install it on a spreadsheet for the first time, you have to go to your Tools menu and go to the Script Gallery. Inside the Script Gallery, you can search for Autocrat right here. And you can find it, Autocrat version 4.3.2. It also has the contact information for Andrew Stillman, and it has a help page. I'm hoping that's his website. It is. Perfect, so I will let that load real quick. He has a little screencast, a little video on how to use Autocrat. He has some notes on how to walk you through and do it. And he's got a spot for comments where people are pushing his thinking. So he is a fantastic resource. If you really want to, if you have any questions about Autocrat or see what other people are doing, check out his website. I had to plug it because I was going right off his website last night when I was building this demo. So you install the script, and just like with G-class folders, you then have to run some initial settings. Once you run the initial settings, you run the Autocrat script again, and it runs you through each step. Like I said, it's pretty complicated, it's pretty complex, but it's not difficult to do. So step one is you choose the document template, and you have to choose something. You have to create your merge template. So I have a merge template that I created. It's in my merge templates folder within my teacher folder, and I just call it the Ultimate Frisbee Feedback. So how a merge template works, if you're not familiar with mail merges, is it's any document, and you just put in little tags wherever you want something to be merged. So this is my little template. I have that little pyramid that I talked about, and I have all these tags in here. So I did this, Naomi did this, Matt did this. We all did this for wherever we wanted information from the spreadsheet to be merged into this document. So I saved my settings because I chose my template. I could choose a different template if I wanted to, any template that I want, and I save those settings. The first time you run this, it will run through each step consecutively, so I don't have to continually go back to the Autocrat form. The second thing is I have to select my merge data source. So I choose this particular spreadsheet. I save that information. Step 3, I have to set merge conditions. This is one area where I talk about complex. This is an optional step, and honestly, I have no idea what this means. I
Googled it. I still don't know what it means.
Yeah, so it's one of those things. It's just optional, and I've just left it blank because I don't need it for this particular document. Step 4 is I set my field mappings, and this is where I go in, and once again, a lot of this vocabulary I don't understand, but this makes sense to me. I go in and I see the tags that are in my template, and I have to choose what from the spreadsheet do I want to populate into that form. So student name, obviously student name, date. What I have in my template is saw. I want to pull from the checklist. I did the following, and so on. And then I can save those mappings. Let's see, the next thing is I have to set the merge type. And I played around with this last night. I did several. Matt shows you this as well. But I decided I wanted to save the merge. You have the option to save merge documents, merge files rather, as a Google document or a PDF. I decided I want to save it as a document. I am saving it to the new merge document folder, and I set up how I want the document to be named. So with the student name, period feedback, period the current date. Obviously, you see this right here. It saves it as a Google Doc. I don't want to email this. I actually decided, I was playing around with this, and for me, for this feedback, I actually don't want to email it. I want to put it in the students' assignment folder in my G class folders. Now, I have not found a way for this to automatically happen or automagically happen. I'm sure I emailed Andrew Stillman about it. I'm hoping he gets back to me. But I have found a way to be able to do that where it only adds about 3-4 extra minutes of my time, and it's pretty easy to do. So I did check the box to trigger the merge on form submit, because anytime that form gets submitted, I want the Autocrat to run. So save those settings. You see the little bureaucrat, Autocrat guy with the mustache right there. And then it gives me the ability to run the merge or test the merge if I want, but I don't have any information in. So I'm going to go through the form as I'm just click not now, just keep my settings. And I'm going to run through the form as if I were a student. So also you might see that there's an Autocrat README tab, which walks you through exactly what I just talked about. Like I said, Andrew Stillman, great guy, step by step, tells you exactly how to do it in the README tab. So that's a good resource.
I was going to say, and this is the stuff from the website too, so if you're not on the website, it's all right there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So tell you a little bit about what I'm picturing here. So picture my class. We're in our Ultimate Frisbee unit right now. And I'm giving students feedback on active participation, or moving to open space is really the thing I'm looking for. So I have this form saved as an icon on my iPad mini. So we're outside, we have 6 fields set up, and I'm walking around and I'm giving feedback to students as I'm watching them in authentic situations during gameplay. Now, I could also do this where if I had a big class, I could film students, and then I could go back after school or after class on my prep period, and I could look at the film and I could fill out this form on my computer at the same time. So either one. So, and I probably, to be honest with you, I would utilize both. So, but anyhow, we'll say I've got my iPad mini. I'm opening up the document. I have my students' names in there. I have Naomi and Matt. I'm going to actually run it for both of them. So for Naomi, all I have to do to pick the date, choose today. That's the date of the feedback. And I'm watching Naomi. I'm observing her, and she moved without the ball. She moved with the ball, but I didn't see the 2 other things I was looking for in that particular observation on that day. So for her rubric score, and it doesn't get communicated to the student as a rubric score, but right now she's learning at a level 2, and I give her some feedback. So she did a very nice job of utilizing a V-cut while moving to open space. One question I still have: what is her strategy for verbalizing with teammates and communicating? So, and then I would submit it, and Autocrat's going to run. Now I'm going to submit another response, because let's say I watch Matt in that same game. I'm going to put Matt in there and add today's date. And he moved without the ball, but he didn't move with the ball, but he did verbalize. So he, again, is working at a level 2. I'm going to give him some area that he did well. Matt. One question I still have is when hey, same concept, right?
Hey, do you want to read through those 2 again? I think as you were typing, I maybe muted you.
Yeah.
So what did you end up doing? What was your feedback for me?
Sure. So for you, feedback I used was one area you did well. I said, hey, Matt, you did a great job of calling for the ball or the Frisbee from your teammates. One question I still have: what are some strategies you would use to move with the ball? Because I didn't observe that. So just quick little feedback. So I submit that, and response has been recorded. So that's the form aspect of it. So now if I click over to the form responses right here, we're going to see that it's already gone into the spreadsheet. You can see Autocrat has already run everything, and I know that because I take a look. I take a look at these cells right here that have a merge document ID, a URL, the link to the document, and the status. It successfully did that. So I think it's important. You can set up in your settings to have the link to the merge document in your response spreadsheet, which I think is a really important thing to keep in there in case you somehow misplace the document or it gets put in a folder it's not supposed to be. You can always access that document by finding the link to the merge doc.
Yeah, or you have lots of folders like me and you just can't find it, so.
Exactly.
It's not color-coded.
Yeah. So if I go back to my, my Google Drive and I take a look at my folders here, remember in my teacher folder I have feedback forms, I have form responses, and merge templates. So in my form responses I have my new merge document folder, and I actually learned from Matt you can give a name to this, so I probably would give it a name, something like feedback for ultimate, instead of the new merge document folder. I color-coded that red, so that means I know I've got work to do in it. I click it, whoops, and I open it, and I've got the 2 pieces of feedback from Matt and Naomi. Now this is what I would do, since automatically I can't have it sent to their folders right now because I don't have a folder key. I'm not sure how to do that. So I'm just going to take that form and I'm going to put it in their assignment folder. So I'm just going to check the box right here. I'm going to check the folder here and I'm going to move it to Matt's assignment folder. So I'm going to find the assignment folder for Matt. He's in my A-Day class. I'm going to click that and I'm going to move it there. Same thing with Naomi's. I'm going to move the folder to her folder, her assignment folder. And then once again, once I have it added in there, I mean really it's going to add maybe 5 minutes. Then it's in their assignment folder and both of us have sharing permissions to that document. So if I click on Matt's right here in his assignment folder, I've got the feedback. So Matt and I can both view this because it's in our G-class folder system. And it opens up the merge and we can take a look at the merge and I can see everything merged correctly. It gave Matt the feedback I was looking to give him, and it has a space on the document for self-reflection. The 2 questions for self-reflection that I chose to ask were what is one way that you can improve yourself in the area that I identified, and what is one thing that is difficult for you about this skill. So, and Matt already, like I said, has edit permissions, so does Naomi, so they can go in to, you could do it, I suppose, as homework, you could do it outside of class. For me, where I have a lot of students who don't have access to the internet outside of class, I was thinking I would probably, I might have like a station set up in my class with the Chromebooks that I have for class, and when we rotate through stations, one station will be a self-reflection station, and that's where students could pull up their feedback and they could fill out their little self-reflection. Just like with G-class folders, I'm able to see when it was last modified, so I can see right now it was last modified at 2:55 p.m. by me. But if Matt were to go in and make changes and do that self-reflection, I would be able to see that he did that. Same thing with Naomi. I would be able to see when she did her feedback. And as you can see in her assignment folder, there are 2 feedbacks for August 21st. That is not a duplicate. We were testing some things out before we went on air, so that is the reason you see 2 there. But pretty simple to do. So that is my example.
Hey, Adam, I just want to point out one more time how important that is to have, you know, that ability to put their names on there. Mm-hmm. Could you just maybe go back and replay that one more time about, you know, where you set it up in Autocrat, and maybe just through those fields. I just think that's important for people to know, because it would be a mess if you just named it feedback and everybody's document was named feedback. Mm-hmm. So maybe they could just see it one more time. I think that would be great.
Sure, absolutely, yeah. So I'll click over to my my screen again, and if I open my student feedback demo, the form response sheet, this is where Autocrat runs. So I have to go into the Autocrat settings, and I have to click Step 5, Set Merge Type, and that's going to bring up how I want the merge to run, whether I want it emailed, whether I want it as a PDF, whether I want it, whatever I want it as. So you have the ability down here, this is what Matt was talking about right here, the file naming convention to use. This is where you choose what you want all the merge files to be named. You have the ability to add some variables in here that are up at the top in blue that will automatically populate certain things from that spreadsheet. So for example, you see here I have the $ and student name. That means it's just pulling the student name from the form to give it the title. Now I do have feedback written in here, so that means, because that's not something I had in my form, so that means feedback will be on all of them. And then it's the same thing here. I have current date. I have the $ and current date. So and that particular thing right here you see at the very top, it's in blue. That is a variable you can add in as the current date in month, day, year format. So, and I think that's really important for me, because my goal would be is I would be giving students multiple opportunities to show proficiency, right? So I'm going to give them feedback multiple times. So I want to be able to catalog when that feedback happens. So that is, to me, and Matt mentioned it too just now, that is a really powerful part about the mail merge and about Autocrat in general, is you can pull information from that spreadsheet in the title as well as just the document itself.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, can you, or you know how we were talking about like showing the summary of responses and kind of talking about the feedback and having the data? Do you want to talk about that a little bit too? Because I think that's kind of important for, you know, the viewers to hear too, because I found that really interesting and something I never really thought about. Sure.
So one of the things that Naomi and I talked about off air is we work in PLCs in our district and professional learning communities. And one of the goals of our professional learning communities is that we're always looking at data to inform instruction. So one of the things my principal and another colleague in our district, Jane Osborne, at Jane Oz on Twitter, got to give her a shout out. They're always saying it's all about the evidence. It's all about the evidence. So what evidence do you have? And so the great thing about a spreadsheet is that you can still use all the powerful tools in Google Spreadsheet to be able to look at data and disaggregate data pretty easily. And that's independent of Autocrat. So for example, say my teaching partner and I, we were using the same form to give students feedback. And we were all looking, you know, so we're looking for open space, active participation, and it doesn't even have to be ultimate. We could be in different units, but we're trying, it's the same concept, it's the same theme. And so we are both populating student data in on this form, and Autocrat runs and sends that stuff out, and then it comes to our Monday PLC time, and we want to look at some of that data. So all we have to do in the spreadsheet is go up to the Form tab, and this is totally separate from Autocrat. Go to the Form tab, and we want to look at a summary of responses. And it does what Google Spreadsheet does anyway. Any Google Spreadsheet does this. And we're able to look at, and what we would be interested in would probably be the rubric score and what our indicators for observation were. And we might see in our discussions that, hey, you know, we have a lot of our students that are moving without the ball. So we're doing a pretty good job of that. However, we might have very few people who are verbalizing with teammates. And that might be something that we notice, and we can have a discussion then, well, how can we adjust our teaching, or what can we do in our classrooms that might reteach or might focus on that particular part of the skill. So we're using this data to look at you know, the assessment of our students, you know, that we're then the feedback that we're giving our students, but it's doing double duty, and it's serving as a really rich data tool for us to change or adjust our instruction. So that's basically what Naomi was asking about right there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, any other questions?
Well, I think that's just cool. Like you say, if you use that feedback form even a couple times during a unit, and then you go back in and you search by last name, and then you can easily see how they have improved, and how that rubric score has changed. And boy, it's just such a slick way to give them some feedback quickly, and for them, of course, to respond to that feedback too with that reflection. Mm-hmm. So doing everything that you absolutely need to do, and I learned something right there about just checking out those responses and that summary. That's a pretty powerful way to look at your class. To see specifically what they need and to develop your teaching to affect that. So awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really like the feedback aspect that you added into yours there too, Adam. I mean, you kind of did the opposite of what I did. You went from the teacher and then the students to get the feedback, where I was, I had the assignment that the students did, and then I gave the feedback. But I like having that spot for feedback from the students. I really, yeah, I'm like, as you're kind of saying it, I was like, oh, I could do it this way, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this. So this is good, because now I have some ideas that I'm going to be doing in the future. So it's good.
Well, I think there's a place for all of it, honestly. And I mean, those feedback questions, I was thinking last night as I'm creating the document, I'm like, I need to get some real deep level thinking questions that I want to pull. And so I was on Andy Basley's website, his PYP blog, and I looked at a student example that he had, and I basically pulled the questions like right from there and plugged it in. So
thanks, Andy.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. Yeah, so that's you know, and I was thinking about this as I was doing this. You could also do it where you have like a peer feedback form set up. It wouldn't necessarily ask for student reflection. It could, but you could have like a peer feedback where you've got a checklist that students, maybe you've got 3-on-3 small-sided games, and you have a duty team, and part of the duty team responsibility is they're filming, and maybe they've got a device that they're giving peer feedback on, and same thing, but it's a drop-down menu. They pick the student they're giving peer feedback to. Maybe they have a drop-down menu so they can identify their name, and then it populates into a merge, and you could have it. You could email that one then. You could have that emailed to students, and as a PDF, so you wouldn't have to edit it. It can't get changed, and you could take that PDF. That could be put into a portfolio. You could use that for a lot of things as well. That could play off of just a little tweak on the idea of feedback. There's multiple ways I think you could use Autocrat with giving feedback to students.
Absolutely.
So, do we have any questions? Did any questions pop up on Twitter or anything like that?
I don't think so. Not that I saw.
That means we just did a fantastic job teaching. That's what it all means.
Yes.
Just blown away. Yep.
Our people are so confused they don't even know what to ask.
Well, maybe.
You know, this is where the power of Twitter comes in, though, too. You know, all these things take. I probably was messing around with it for about a half an hour last night. You know, and I created a couple of different things. And you know, after you did your first one, each one of them gets easier and easier. But again, there's no reason to rewrite the book. You know, I could use Adam's feedback form in my class. There's no reason why we can't start sharing that as bio teachers. And you know, there are so many common assessments that we could start to use out there. Again, just going back to all that data collection and having those numbers right there in front of you, no matter how you do it, that's such an easy way to go back and look at it. So, you know, calling all PE geeks to, hey, come on, create 2 documents, you know, for a couple different types of activities. And, you know, the more we share these types of things, the easier the load is. And I think how much, you know, kids win right there again. You know, think how much they win. So, great stuff, though. But let's start sharing.
You know, I thought about this when I was watching the Peplic Hangout that Joe Bailey was doing, and she had I can't think of her name right now. She's in Canada. I think her name is Beth, maybe. But she's been teaching 10 years. She wasn't exactly sure if she wanted. Yeah, maybe it's Beth Ritchie. Yeah, she wasn't exactly sure if she wanted to continue teaching PE, and she made a comment. Now she's the only PE teacher in her school. So I could totally see something like this. You know, I shared how my teaching partner and we could use this to share data about students ourselves in our school. But what if there are some people like on Peplic or in the phys ed community online, you know, maybe they're the only PE teacher in their school. Maybe they're in elementary. Yeah, and you're the only one. So maybe you and someone else here online in the phys ed community decide to do the same unit at the same time this year, and you're going to use the same form to collect data and give feedback. Then the two of you could share. Obviously, you wouldn't share individual student names, but you could share that show summary response sheet where you could see that this is what I'm seeing with my students, and this is what you're seeing with your students, and maybe. If there's a discrepancy, like for example, Naomi, if you and I taught the same unit, and let's say you noticed with your students that they were doing a great job of moving without the ball, and I was looking at my students and realized that, no, they're not really moving without the ball, then I can have a conversation with you to say, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing in your classroom that you're getting so much success here? And then I could apply that to my classroom. So it doesn't even have to be teachers who are in the same building working together. It could truly transcend across the phys ed community here online with that kind of data discussion and conversations to inform practice.
Yeah, no, and I love that. Like, that's perfect. I know one of my PGP goals this year was, and part of our whole division is using data to kind of improve our teaching practice. So that's perfect. And I know, like, I have a couple teachers within the school division that are teaching the same classes I'm teaching. So, right, I can show that to them and say, okay, here. And, like, one lady that I collaborate with, like, I was just collaborating with her last night, and we kind of do the same units. So, we could do this all together and, go from there and then talk about it. And, yeah, no, I really like that. That's a great idea. Done.
Good to go. So one last thing we should probably talk about is, and Matt, did you play around with the G-Class Hub and how that integrates with Autocrat?
No, I have not.
Okay. So I did this a little bit last night, and so what it does, and I guess I'll share my screen again. I don't think we're going to get into it too much because I really didn't play around with it a whole lot other than understanding what it's able to do. So this is where the auto magic happens. I don't even know how to say that. So
I think you just coined a new term.
I did. Well, it's like I think there's that something like tune up or something like that where it can find out your iTunes, your music names automatically. Anyway.
Hashtag.
I'm really grasping at straws here. Yeah. So in the G class folders, I need a moment. In the G class folders, so you have the ability to go in and you can get a unique URL for the G class hub, and that allows you certain things like Autocrat, Doctopus, PageMeister can pull data right from your G-class folders and integrate with your assignment folders. So one of the things I will do, I think it's in the example here, I'll open my G-class folders, and this is going back to last week. But one of the things I did is once it loads here is when you go to the, not showing up, where is the G-class folders? So the extension, there it is. So you have the option to create new folders and shares. At the bottom, you can get a G-Class Hub URL. So I went there and I did that. And what it does is it gives you a custom link to G-Class folders. And I did this yesterday, so I don't know what's going to happen if I do it again. But
we're live.
Live on air.
Yeah, we're live. There we go. So what it does is it pulls you to this, and you can select your classes, your class rosters, and launch Autocrat, Doctopus, or PageMeister, and each of them does something different. So I selected my class rosters with Autocrat, and I didn't play around with it too much, but what it does is if I go here, if you remember in the very beginning in my teacher folder, I have two documents right here for an 8th grade PE health period A and B day, PDF progress report for August 20th. So this is all stuff that Stillman has done. And inside, remember, Autocrat pulls stuff from a spreadsheet. So it walks you through, again, the steps to be able to do this. So I went through the steps and I ran the installation, and it pulls your class roster automatically from the G-Class folder, and it has their folder key right here. And then all you have to do is enter this information, I think. And there might be an easier way to do this. I don't exactly know, but you put in your teacher name, class name, personalized message. The only reason it has all this stuff is because the template right here, the progress report template that's already built, has this stuff. So my understanding is I think you could tweak this progress report to fit anything that you want. You could tweak, I know you can tweak the spreadsheet to have the columns reflect anything you want. And then you just run the script, and I didn't go through and run any of these steps, but you could run the script, and what it will do, my understanding is what it does, is that it will create a PDF just like this. It will turn this merge template into a PDF, and then it automatically puts it into the student's assignment folder. So that auto magicness that I'm looking for, this extension does it with a progress report. So I think so that's another way you can use Autocrat, where it just automatically pulls all your students from your G class folders, and it gives them a progress report based on some information you put in a spreadsheet. So that's another way you can use Autocrat.
It's awesome.
Cool, slick.
Yeah. Blue Jay Bridge has a question.
All right.
He tweeted, he said, watching and learning, and then he said, automagically. Hashtag automagically.
Yes.
And then he said, can you do this in Windows or Mac only? I believe both.
Both. As long as you can use Google Drive, it doesn't matter if it's Windows or Mac. It's using the Google apps that you're using everything in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it sure helps if you're using Google Chrome. You know, I mean,
yes.
that's definitely a plus. And Naomi, I know you've kind of turned me that way, and it's definitely a good platform, though. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had to switch to Firefox today because Chrome wasn't working on the school computers, but I still like Chrome.
Yeah, I concur with that. I would say with Google Drive or any of the hosted Google apps, mm-hmm. I like either using Chrome or Safari. They both work pretty well. Internet Explorer and Google Apps do not get along at all. They're always crashing, always freezing, which I guess is something of a disadvantage if you can only use Internet Explorer, but I feel sorry for you then.
Talk to your IT people then, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, make the push. Make the push.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I think that's everything.
I think, like I say, I know it kind of looks like a daunting task, but honestly, you know, you spend just a little while, you try it out, you are going to save yourself some time. You're going to save yourself a ton of time. You know, and like I said, the more that we can share, once we start creating some of these too, just as PE geeks across the world, it's going to make everybody's life easier. So take a look at it, try it out. You know, let anyone know if you have questions, and you know, we're there to help you. Like I say, a couple of errors, I fixed them up quickly, and you know, after you get that first one, it's very, very easy. So spread the word, Autocrat. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, once again, you know, tweet at us, use the hashtag GScriptChat so we can keep the conversation going. I'll be going in shortly, and I'll be doing some annotated chapters or some interactive chapters for this video, so you can skip around and look for the parts you're looking for. Hopefully that helps you out, and hopefully this little hangout was helped give you some clarification on Autocrat.
Yes, thanks for watching, and yeah, like you said, tweet out those questions. And I mean, I check, you know, the hashtag GScriptChat every once in a while, but if you have a question specifically for one of us, just make sure you tweet at us too, so then we for sure see it if you want an answer right away.
All right, well, PE geeks, until next time, and I'm sure we'll probably have a good one next time, maybe Doctopus, who knows. So take care, and go forth and work with G-scripts in the classroom.
Awesome.
Automagically.
Yes.
I think that phrase has now been coined.
Yeah, I love
Sure
that.
has.
I'm going to use
We're
it all the time.
There we go. We're automagically signing off right now.